Hi, I'm Mark Tyrrell of Uncommon Knowledge, and here I'm going to give you 5 ways to slow your heart rate during anxiety or a panic attack. Now, as you know, a central and often alarming symptom of anxiety and panic is a racing heartbeat, and people may really start to focus on their heart rate, and you can become horribly aware of your heart racing. You can feel really out of control, and sometimes it seems that your heart rate is going so unnaturally fast, almost as if something surely has to break inside. People often report that. But here I want to reassure you about the fast heartbeat associated with anxiety and give you 5 tips to quickly slow your heart rate to a normal speed. Now, if you worry about a racing heart during anxiety or panic, then you're not alone. And in fact, many people report that a speeding pulse is to them what panic essentially is, or at least the sudden speeding of the heartbeat is one of the first dramatic signs that panic is coming on and the person's getting really, really stressed. What's more, this very symptom of anxiety can make us panic even more. So we start to panic about the panic. One client said, I can almost hear my own heart beating. And I think other people must be able to hear it as well. Another client told me that she felt her heart rate became so quick it would sort of come off the rails like a train coming off its tracks. She also worried her heart wouldn't be able to take going that fast. So it's no wonder common beliefs during a panic attack, certainly the first time a panic attack occurs, is often I'm going to die or I'm going crazy. Which makes people feel even more out of control. And yet a raised pulse is entirely natural in these kinds of situations, which of course is not to say we shouldn't try to slow it down. So I'm going to tell you why and how you can start to slow a speeding heart rate down easily and comfortably. And you've got the first aid audio here too that you can just listen to help bring down your heart rate naturally and get you feeling calm again. Understanding exactly what's happening and why can be really reassuring. So why does the heart speed up when we get scared? Well, a fast heart rate, a quick shallow breathing, sweating, having a dry mouth, and having your blood pumped away from the stomach and into the major muscles, certainly all these are symptoms of panic, but they're also characteristics of physical exercise. If your pulse rate is fast and you're breathing quickly and shallow, and you're sweating whilst at the gym running, say, on a running machine, on a treadmill, well, that's what you expect to feel in that circumstance when you exercise. If you're sprinting hard, it won't feel weird that you're breathing fast and that your pulse rate is way up. In fact, it would feel really strange if you were sprinting hard and your heart rate was slow. But if, on the other hand, you're in, say, a meeting at work or having coffee with a friend, and your body's acting like you're exercising, like you're running up a hill, when you're just sitting in a chair, that's going to feel really weird and scary, not to mention uncomfortable. So for the time being, forget the idea of a panic attack, and remember that the words panic attack are metaphor, and I don't like the metaphor of attack when talking about panic, because in reality the fight or flight response is about producing all the characteristics of physical exercise. So your exercise response going off at the wrong time isn't an attack, though it can feel like it happens to you because nature designed it to happen quickly. When you consciously or subconsciously feel something is a threat, then your body starts to act like you're exercising because it's anticipating that you're going to need to exercise hard any moment now, okay, to fight or to flee very soon. This is all very well if you're being chased by a mugger, but not, of course, when you're about to present to 100 co-workers. Your body needs to get the signals from you that no, this situation doesn't require a huge amount of intense exercise. Do for now think of the old metaphor of panic attack as simply an inappropriate exercise response, which isn't as catchy a term as panic attack, but more descriptive. A response which might be fine in the gym or on the tennis court, but not here. Controlling your heart rate and stopping panic attacks, inappropriate exercise responses, is really about teaching your body, no thank you, heavy exercise will not be needed right now in this situation. Hypnosis is a widespread and excellent way to lower stress. And when you're generally calmer, you'll find it actually takes a lot more to make you panic. Like the threshold of your base level of stress has been lowered to the point where it's so much harder and harder to go up to panic. But there are things you can do right away to lower and control your heart rate, and therefore feel so much calmer and in control. So tip number 1 is breathe your way back to calm. And yes, I know people say, oh, if I focus on my breathing, it makes me worse, like the panic about the panic I was talking about just now. But hear me out. The old idea that you have to change your thoughts to change your emotions is kind of outdated. Yes, it may be uncomfortable to think about physicality when you feel like you're having an inappropriate exercise response or a panic attack, a major physical reaction, and trying to analyze your thoughts may serve as some kind of distraction from the anxiety. But fixing thoughts won't necessarily fix anxiety, any more than reading your car's manual will actually adjust the settings in your car or change a wheel. Anxiety often comes from unconscious conditioning, which are conditionings which are not always formulated as clear thoughts or produced by thoughts. What's more, our thoughts are often produced by our feelings, not the other way around. So when I'm feeling anxious, my thoughts will often be anxious, not the other way around, especially when those feelings are strong. So trying to change your thoughts to change your feelings may be a little like putting the cart before the horse. So this is really important to understand. Psychologists have discovered that the symptoms of a panic attack, inappropriate exercise response to you and I, start up to an hour before you even become aware of any change in your arousal level. The panic may seem to come from nowhere, but actually it doesn't. So one of the first changes before conscious awareness of panic sets in is a change in your breathing. Breathing starts to become shallower, the way it does when you exercise, in expectation of the need to exercise, and heart rate increases. And all this can happen before you even consciously notice it. When people get anxious or panic, they tend to breathe in quickly, but not expel the air. In other words, they don't breathe out much. And again, this is how you would breathe if you're running. You just breathe in, but you're not sighing, you're not letting out the air. But to relax and start to feel calmer, you need to breathe out a bit slower than you breathe in. So when people relax, they naturally extend the out-breath more than the in-breath. A certain breathing technique called 7-11 breathing will help you put the brakes on panic immediately and slow your heart rate almost instantly. This may be different from the ways of breathing that you've been taught before. So breathe in through the nose to the count of 7, quick counts in your head, not seconds, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then out through your nose to the quick count of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and hold it for a second. It's the out-breath which puts the brakes on anxiety and calms you right down. A long out-breath mobilizes a relaxation response, and this is why people sigh when they're tired or stressed. Nature's way of calming you down. Now, if you prefer, you can breathe in to the count of 5 and out to the count of 7 and hold for 1 second. And remember, you can use our 7-11 hypnosis audio session anytime you want to calm right down, or even on a daily basis to lower your general stress levels. If you intentionally breathe like this every so often throughout the day, you'll start to feel generally calmer. And if you start to breathe like this as soon as you notice your heart rate increasing, you'll soon slow your heart rate right down. So the next tip is also pretty simple. So tip 2 is remind yourself that you can change the way you feel. Research has found that the biggest influence on whether someone is able to change their state of mind is whether they actually believe they can change their state of mind. When you notice your heart rate rising rapidly, it's easy to feel as if it's happening to you and that you're just a victim of your physiological functions, that you have no control. That's where the metaphor of attack came from. And this does seem perfectly reasonable, since it's your autonomic nervous system, which is controlled by your unconscious mind, that is producing the exercise response in you when you're not even exercising. So no one consciously decides to panic, yet we know that simple measures like the ones you're learning here can help you change your state very fast back to one of comfort and calm and equilibrium. So simply remind yourself, there is plenty I can do right now to slow things down. We don't have to just be victims of our unconscious processes, especially if we can learn to better use our minds to influence our bodies. So the next tip is almost absurdly simple, and however unlikely it seems, it has actually been found to be effective. Okay, so now tip number 3, splash cold water onto your face. Yes, you heard me right. Cold water exposure has been found to increase feelings of calm and well-being and slow heart rate. Now it does this by stimulating what's known as your vagus nerve. Okay, it's nothing to do with what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. Your vagus nerve controls autonomic unconscious responses such as the fight or flight response, which, as we know, is essential in case of real physical emergency. And stimulating this nerve can help calm you right down and slow your heart rate to a comfortable and calm level. Now, I'm not suggesting if you notice your heart rate rising, you go jump in a cold lake, but simply taking the time to splash cold water onto your face should help slow everything right down. And of course, self-hypnosis and 7-11 breathing also wonderfully stimulate the vagus nerve, tone it up so it's easier for you to be calm in everyday life. Talking of which, tip 4 is use self-hypnosis. It's a very practical and enjoyable way to take more control of unconscious processes like heart rate, giving you more confidence in your ability to calm down quickly. What's more, once you've used hypnosis a few times, it becomes easier to use it in future when you really need to take control of what's happening in your mind and body right now. So using it a few times, you'll find that you can then start to use it very quickly and change your state. Hypnosis and mindfulness meditation can certainly help to normalize heart rate in the moment, but also over the longer term. And high quality hypnosis can be used to maximize the benefits of the mind-body control. And lastly, use mindful hypnosis. Mindfulness is all about staying in the here and now without labeling things as good or bad. It's a state of being where you don't get caught up in your thoughts and emotions, but rather just watch them and then let them go. It's like stepping back and observing your thoughts and feelings and sensations from a comfortable, calm distance. It means inhabiting the observing self, a term familiar to all uncommon practitioners, so that thoughts, feelings, and sensations are watched from afar. Calm detachment is often an element of meditation and other hypnotic-like techniques, and also many wisdom traditions in which the aspirant needs to understand themselves better. When we calmly observe our experiences in a purposefully detached, calm way, we find we can start to actually control and influence our own experiences much more easily. One client, after using hypnosis, told me if ever she started to stress out, she could feel as though she were outside of it in a good way, as she put it, and could simply dial down her stress levels, which then normalized her heart rate and also her breathing. So these are a few ways to lower heart rate in the moment, and it feels scary to have your body acting as though you're undertaking a heavy exercise experience when you're not. So simply because your unconscious mind has wrongly tagged some situation as requiring a heavy physical exercise response when it really doesn't. Anxiety is a full body response and therefore feels dramatic in the body. But really, I want you to think of it as just simply the heart pounding or racing is just the body believing, if you like, that it needs to exercise when it really doesn't. And if you're medically fit and able, it's not going to damage you at all, that little workout for the heart. Okay. If in doubt, though, always get checked out medically. But remember, anxiety can increase heart rate, I think we've established that, cause shortness of breath, bring on dizziness, make you sweat buckets, bring on pins and needles, cause digestive symptoms. We can and should use the mind to alter the body's anxiety response. But I'll say it again, if you're worried about your heart rate or health, see a doctor. Okay, now there are also some general lifestyle heart rate helpers beyond learning to influence your body directly through self-hypnotic methods or breathing or cold water. And so there are many sensible ways to help ensure your heart rate stays within normal limits in a more general sense, from limiting caffeine and alcohol and nicotine consumption to exercising regularly and sleeping well, relaxing regularly, and staying hydrated. It's also been found that spending time in nature has a calming effect. Just 20 to 30 minutes a week is enough to bring down overall stress levels. Knowing how to regain calm is such a wonderful resource. Remember, your body is always seeking, it's always looking to return to a balance, and you can help it do that. Always remember, above all, that there are things you can do in the moment and the longer term to gain control and peace of mind. Now, if you want to learn self-hypnosis, you can do so on my free course over at hypnosisdownloads.com. And I hope this has been useful.